Hey, how's it going? Let me just make sure that this is working. I see Paul, Levi, and Eyesight. Welcome. Good to see you guys. I don't know if you looked at the video description. I have a few things to talk about, and I don't even know how to get there now. I think I have a lot of this stuff open. Parkway. Blue Ridge, huh? Cool. Okay, let me explain. Now, this is not to rip on anybody, this video, but this is to hopefully open someone's eyes to things that have already happened that most people aren't really aware of, and that, lots of reasons why they're not aware of them. And to put it blunt, they must ignore, if that's the right word, maybe not ignore, be completely unaware. That's probably a better word. To be completely unaware of what the prophets actually wrote in the scriptures. Like, very specific things. And I'm going to give some examples, but one thing I want to do is really quick, I want to talk about the sky. And this is part of what I've learned in the last 5 years to be of, great importance. In the Bible, in the book of Revelation, and all throughout the Bible, there's a place talked about that everybody that reads the Bible has a hope for this place. Everyone that has heard of this place. And it's a place that comes down out of heaven from God. And that everything changes when that happens. And that's at the end of the age, or whatever you want to call it, the end of the world, or there'll be a new heaven and a new earth, because this is what John saw, and he was being shown that time. So it's very important. A lot of people look at the book of Revelation or parts of it or whatever as being like symbols and things. This means this and this means this. I've come to learn that that's wrong. That's wrong. It's not right. It's a testimony. Like the book of Daniel, chapters 7 and 8. That's a testimony of Daniel seeing something in a vision or a dream vision or whatever. And he was describing visually what he saw with his own words, because he didn't know what he was seeing. But I'll tell you what, every one of you guys knows exactly what he was seeing. But there's a lot of people that have ideas that are kind of like, seem to be really set in stone or something like that. Oh, you know what I was going to do? I was just going to play something else in the background. I forgot I paused that. But I'm going to turn the sound off. I just got some videos that I've been taking around here. This was April 2020, I guess. Time lapses and stuff. But up in the sky, see, there's the stars. Up in the sky, it's a different. Now that's a bird. That's not up in the sky. It can fly in the sky, though. If you watch really carefully, you can see him fly a little bit. But it goes really fast. Right here, you'll see it. He goes zoom across the screen. I like that eyesight. You know what? I think it's because it's very simple. That's probably why. And when here's my example for that. Eyesight. I better read your comment. Eyesight says, I used to always wonder why they say a child can understand, but most churches cannot get a clear picture. when talking about the Bible, I meant. I agree. And I think it's strange to watch just from my point of view. And like, obviously I only have my point of view, right? But when I look at what's happening, okay, there's, oh yeah, sweet. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to look up a couple of things. I got to make sure that I do this right. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second to open this tab. I want to read you. Okay, what I want to talk about is what's actually in the sky. What's actually in the sky. Literally. Maybe not the same type of reality that we live in, but right up in the clouds, up where the air starts getting thin, and then what they call space is what I call darkness. But I will read to you about something that's there that Abraham searched for. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it's New Jerusalem, Mount Zion. There's so many things in the sky. We know there's the sun, moon, and stars. There's the planets, or wandering stars. There is clouds. There is darkness. There's a lot of things up there. But one of the things that's up there that a lot of people don't realize is up there is darkness. This world calls it space and thinks it's a place to explore, but it's not. It's actually, if you look at the description in this video, you can see, I think I have 18 things written down there that are clear in the scriptures to me. And I think examples of how we don't want to interpret something. And here's another kind of way that, or a kind of thing that I've been noticing is when I say, hey, look at that. SpaceX Dragon is flying up in the firmament. They launch a rocket up with a Dragon capsule. Okay? That's just something that the world's doing, right? They launch rockets. And there's a lot of people that say it's fake, and those people are just not interested in actually understanding what's actually happening. And I don't think that they actually will understand what's happening, just because that's the nature of this story. Like, it's not my story. Eyesight, that's a cool name, by the way. All right, Paul Levi. I'm just reading some of the comments. You guys are leaving cool comments. Joy, I like what you said about the word behold. I never thought about it that way. That it means they are seeing what they are explaining and no room for interpretation. Yes, a child could understand. Here's one way that helps me kind of understand, a good, clear way to understand either the book of Revelation. The entire book was written by John, and it is literally a vision that was delivered to him from Jesus, and he sent a signified angel, and so it was for a very serious purpose, and it was a vision of the things that must come to pass. And so John wrote these things down, and he said he saw these things. And yeah, it is important, and I do like that the word behold. And there's so many words like this that are used in these visions. I saw this, I saw that. So what I always think of it as, think if you're in a room and there's only one window, and it's a little window, and let's say it's up high by the ceiling, and we only have one ladder. So only one of us can climb up to that window and see what's happening outside, right? So we send someone up. However many people were in this room, we send someone up, and they're looking up out that window, and we're saying, what's out there? What do you see out there? You know, what is out that window? Because none of us can see it. We don't have ladder. So we send that one person up, and they might tell us what's out there. And they're going to say, I see this, I see this, I see that it's snowing out, or whatever, you know. And it paints a very specific picture. It really does. And so if we also add the idea of, you know, this was a long time ago, and they did not have the technology we have right now. So they had to just describe what they were seeing with and I think they did an awesome job, by the way. Hey Daniel, welcome. You guys are the late night crew, huh? I just think there's some important things that are clear, but they're hard to like believe at first, or they're hard not to believe, but they're hard to comprehend. And I like what I think it was I said. A child can understand these things, and so I just want to read 2nd Esdras. This is one of my favorite books, you guys. Okay, I want to tell you guys a story of what's happening in the world right now. And so the following story I tell you, I'm going to be reading 2nd Esdras a little bit, a few chapters, different chapters, but I'll tell you where I'm reading to as I'm reading. But I want you to understand that there's something happening right now that, in this case, Ezra got to see already. And it's so specific. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you it in the way I understand it. So if I stop, reading, I'll say, this is the way I understand it. Because I'm just sharing the way I understand it. And it makes it's happening already. These things, these fulfillments of these prophecies that, are 2,004, 3,000 or whatever years old, they're coming to pass. And actually, that brings me to something that we have to thank Jesus for something. And it's a really good thing, because I'm not sure where I was I guess it's in a lot of places in the Gospels, and it's in Isaiah too. But okay, this is Matthew 13, starting in verse 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Okay, I'm going to read that verse again, because I want you guys to really understand what I think. We're bearing witness to something right now. And it's very important stuff. And I think, it only lasts so long in these stories. So I think it's very important. He's saying these things now, you guys. So we could almost say, and whoever came, the followers of Jesus, the believers, came and said unto him, Why do you speak to them in parables? Okay, this verse again, verse 11. He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Okay, now I'm going to come back to this chapter, because now he addresses the people, or I guess he doesn't say people. He just says, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your your ears, for they hear. Now listen what it says, what he says here. This is what I was getting to. This was the main verse right here. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Okay? Many prophets and righteous men have desired to see and hear these things, you guys. And what I'm trying to say is, right now is when we're seeing them and hearing them. And that brings me to 2nd Esdras, because I'm sorry I can't see the chat, which I wish I could, but I just want to tell you guys this cool story here, that the way I see it. Okay, we're going to go to 2nd Esdras chapter 13, and I'm just going to read a couple things. And I'll give a little context. This was right after Ezra was shown a vision of the same 4th kingdom that Daniel was shown a vision of. It was just shown to him in a different way. Now, after that, he was told to stay where he was at or something. It'll just continue here. But he had a dream. And this is what I'm going to just point out everything that I can, so I'm going to stop a bunch in the middle of this stuff. But he had this dream, and the dream he had is the lives that we're living right now. If you guys can understand what I'm trying to say there. It's being fulfilled. This dream he had is being fulfilled as we speak, as we live out these days, right now specifically. And I'll explain what I mean as I go through it. Okay, 13 verse 1. After 7 days, this is Ezra. After 7 days, I had a dream during the night. I looked and saw a wind rising from the sea and stirring up all its waves. As I watched, this wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. That man was flying among the clouds of heaven. That should ring a bell, guys. Who is that? That's Jesus. He cometh with clouds. There's so many verses that talk about this thing, this event or this time. That man was flying among the clouds of heaven. Okay. Wherever he turned his face to look, everything that fell under his gaze trembled. Wherever an utterance came from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it feels the fire. Okay, so he was when he was flying with the clouds of heaven in this dream that Ezra's just saying, that, or Ezra's telling us, he was uttering his voice and people were hearing it. Whoever heard it was melting like wax melts when it feels the fire. whatever that means, But I think it's very important. So when he was flying with the clouds of heaven, he was uttering his voice. That's very important. Okay, verse 5 starts, I kept watching these things, and an innumerable multitude of people came together from the four winds of heaven to fight against the man who had come up from the sea. So that's kind of important too. The four winds of heaven are in the sky, you guys. Just think about that. An innumerable multitude of people came together from the four winds of heaven to fight against the man who had come up from the sea. Now watch this. This is where Mount Zion comes to be. So he's flying with. This is like something that's happening right now, you guys. He's uttering his voice, and he's making people bear witness to the truth. That's important. And my testimony is that for 5 years he's been changing my understanding of everything. And it's because I can read this stuff and see it happening. It's pretty awesome. Verse 6, I watched as he carved out a great mountain for himself and flew onto it. So he was flying with the clouds, keep that in mind. And he carved out a great mountain for himself and flew onto it. I tried to see the region or place from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. And we'll find out why he couldn't. Because it wasn't carved out from a place or region. But that's in coming up in the interpretation. But because this includes, he asked for it to be interpreted because he wanted to know, and it was interpreted for him. So, and I don't remember if it was. I think it was an angel that was, delivering out this dream or whatever. But we'll probably find out as we read here. After this I looked and saw that all who had gathered to do battle against him were sorely afraid, yet they dared to fight. When he saw the rush of the multitude coming, he didn't raise his hand or hold a spear or any weapon of war. Rather I saw something like a wave of fire shoot forth from his mouth, and a breath of flame from his lips, and a storm of sparks from his tongue. All these things, the wave of fire, the breath of flame, and the mighty storm, mixed together, and fell upon the crowd that was rushing forward, prepared to fight. It burned them all up, so that suddenly nothing was seen of the innumerable mob except the dust of ashes and the smell of smoke. I saw this and was amazed. Now listen to this, you guys. Like, I don't have opinions on all of it. I don't really know how that looks. But I mean, there's an innumerable multitude gathered against truth that came down from the sky. That's what I believe. That flat Earth was something that you never thought of, and I never thought of, and just didn't consider our whole lives. Maybe we thought about it once or twice or something, who knows. But what I'm saying is, there's millions of people in the world that know that the earth is not a spinning ball. And only the Holy Ghost can do that. Jesus said, actually, I should read that. I don't want to get sidetracked from this dream, though. It's so cool. Jesus said something about, I think it's in John 15. If you're interested in what John 15 verses 22 through 27, it talks about some of this a little bit, but yeah. After these things, this is verse 12. After these things, I saw the same man coming down from the mountain and calling to himself another crowd, a peaceful one. Many people came to him. Some were rejoicing and some were sad. Some were even tied up, while some were bringing other people as an offering. Okay, this is Ezra now. I woke up in great fear and pleaded with the Most High. I said, "From the beginning you showed your servant these wonders, and you considered me worthy that you should receive my prayer. Now show me also the interpretation of this dream. As I turn it over in my mind, I think how terrible it will be for those who will be left in those days, and how much worse for those who aren't left. Those who aren't left will be full of sorrow, since they now know what lies in store for the last days, but they won't live to see them. But how terrible it will be also for those who are left, for that very reason. They will see great dangers, and there will be many kinds of distress, as these dreams show. Yet it is better to encounter these things, even incurring danger, than to pass from the world like a cloud and not see what happens at the end." Now, that confuses me. I don't really know what any of that means. But there it is. I just read it. Okay, he answered me, excuse me, "I will tell you the interpretation of the dream as well, and I will explain to you the things you spoke about. As to what you said about those who are left, this is the interpretation. He who brings the danger at that time will himself guard those who fall into danger, who have works and faith in the Most Mighty One. Know therefore that those who are left enjoy greater privilege than those who have died. The interpretations of the vision are as follows. In that you saw a man going up from the heart of the sea. That is the one whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages. He will liberate God's creation all by himself, and he will put in order those who are left. In that you saw something like a wind and fire and storm go out of his mouth." This is awesome, you guys. Check this out. "And that he didn't hold a spear or any weapon of war, yet destroyed the rush of that multitude that had come to fight him. Here's the interpretation. Look, the days are coming when the Most High will begin to rescue those who are on the earth." This is awesome, you guys. "Those who live on the earth will go out of their minds." Pandemic. I'll read that verse again. "Those who live on earth will go out of their minds. They will plan to wage war against each other, city against city, place against place, nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. When these things happen..." Sorry, I'm going back so I can see the chat now. Okay, here we go. You guys will like some of this stuff that's coming up. I just love that when he says the Most High will begin to rescue those who are on the earth. That's awesome. Okay, but they will plan to wage war and all that, kingdom against kingdom. When these things happen and the signs that I showed you before take place, then my Son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man rising up. So it was Jesus, you guys. And up here he said it's the one that will liberate, where was that? Liberate God's creation all by himself. All power is given to Jesus over everything. So he's the Son of God, but he said, "I and my Father are one." I'm not saying that I understand that. I'm saying that that's what he said. And I believe what he said. So here we go. So he's saying when the signs take place, then his Son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man rising up. Think of September 23rd, 2017. Everybody heard about that. So I'm just saying. Did you guys see in the intro how I said, maybe I'll have to put that on the screen again without sound. I gotta fast forward here. Do you see this? Okay, if you're not familiar, that's Elon Musk. He owns SpaceX. Enough said, right? Why do I have him dancing on this silhouette of this woman? Well, September 23rd, there was something probably in the sky that was a sign, or it was a wonder, a great wonder. Okay, so it was New Jerusalem. It was New Jerusalem. And it was being trodden underfoot in like Daniel 7. There was a mouth speaking great things and against the Most High. And he was blaspheming God's tabernacle in Revelation. So I will continue in 2nd Ezra 13, because there's more in 2nd Ezra, that there's more of this vision of Revelation 14 when he sees the Lamb up on Mount Zion with 144,000. That's in this book too. We'll go over that. I think it's in chapter 2. Okay, so verse 33. When all the nations hear his voice, see, he's uttering his voice, you guys. When all the nations hear his voice, then each one will leave its own region and will leave off the wars they are waging against each other. An innumerable mob will be gathered together, as you saw, wanting to come and fight against him. But he will take his stand on the summit of Mount Zion. Remember, guys, Mount Zion? He carved it out. Oh, this will tell us right here. I forgot to tell you. Or I forgot that we didn't read this yet, okay? But he will take his stand on the summit of Mount Zion. Now listen. This is one of my favorite verses in the whole book. Zion will come and will appear to all, built and ready, as you saw a mountain carved without hands. So I'm going to go back up to the top and remind us all. Okay, this man that was flying with the clouds of heaven, Ezra says, I watched as he carved out a great mountain for himself and flew onto it. Flew, guys. Flew onto it. Good question, JP. There's a few reasons why I think it's New Jerusalem. You're talking about the Revelation 12, the woman clothed with the sun, because she was a bride, right? Or we'd have to go to Revelation 12. I don't want to misspeak, but there's other reasons too. John in Revelation 11, he was told, "Rise and measure the temple of God," and actually this is the Elon Musk that's on your screen there. He has a Dragon capsule that resupplies the space station. The space station. So, yeah, September 23rd. I probably have a video of that a little bit, because John saw this is what's so important. I'm glad you brought that up, JP. Thank you. This is important. In Revelation 12, and if you guys aren't familiar with the chapters, go check them out, because the things that are said in those chapters are happening. It's crazy. So the September 23rd thing, that a lot of people don't believe this, but a lot of people do. I do. I believe that was a special sign in the heavens, and not that it's a special sign, but that John said that he saw it. And it was a vision of the time of the end. So it's like, we know that John saw it because he said he saw it. That's his testimony. So I'm like, okay, at the very next verses, 3 and 4, what does he see in the same place? Because he said it was a wonder in heaven both times. What was the other wonder in heaven? It was a dragon. Elon Musk has a dragon up in heaven. And there's more. I mean, it goes even deeper. But look what I wrote here. I'm going to play. Okay, this is kind of like a joke, but not really. He's like, okay, New Jerusalem. Because New Jerusalem is in the sky. And it's trodden underfoot. Do you guys get what I was saying there? I hope you do. Yeah, good old Elon Muskrat. Yep. So this Zion, he was trying to see the region or place which the mountain was carved, but he couldn't. And then down in the interpretation it says, but he will take his stand on the summit of Mount Zion. Zion will come and will appear to all. There is something that will come and appear to all that is right now. Flat Earth. Biblical cosmology. Heaven above the earth. Heaven up in the sky. Earth being earth. Firmament. Waters above. Still, not rotating. That's biblical cosmology. It's a circle, but not a sphere. There's a big difference there. The sun moves over the earth, and the sun is just the greater light, the great light, whatever, it's greater light. And the lesser light is the moon, and it is a light. This is biblical cosmology, right? That's why it's so important. Because if you don't understand that heaven is a different place, heaven is heaven. Now, where does it start? I don't know where it starts. It starts above our heads. Do the birds fly in heaven? Yeah. Are the stars in heaven? Yeah. It's all heaven up there. It's the sky, the Shamayim, the place that's not the earth. It's above the earth. So, hey, Curtis Lee, thanks for checking it out. So it says here in verse 39, or no, I skipped a little bit there. Sorry about that. So it's coming and appearing right now, you guys. That's what it is it's the kingdom of heaven. And it's truth being revealed at the end. Remember what he was saying? Blessed are your eyes, for they see. Did I read that? Maybe I didn't read that. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily, I did say this, but listen to what he says. He's talking to us. He's talking to us. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. He's talking to a specific group of people there. People that believe on him, and then he makes it so they can see. It's a miracle. He gives them eyesight that they didn't have before. That's what's been happening to me for like 5 years. That's probably why people think I'm a weirdo. But I don't think everybody thinks I'm a weirdo. 1 Peter. I just have to go to 1 Peter really quick. Because this same idea of, it's like all the prophets, they wanted to see these things that we're seeing. So we have to be like, we have to remember how important that, or what that really, we're talking about thousands of years, you guys. Actually, a whole creation has been created, and thousands of years of life happening on this earth. And it throughout that whole time, people didn't get to see the things that we're seeing and hear the things that we're hearing. And we can understand them. We can. 1 Peter, check this out. 1 verse 4, I guess. Yeah. Let me just read it. Starting in verse 2, elect according to the foreknowledge of God the Father through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Jesus Christ. Grace unto you and peace be multiplied. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively, look at that's born again right there, begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you. That's in the sky, guys. Who are kept by the power of God through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. Remember, it's going to be right here, I think, about the prophets. They searched diligently for this. Where does it say? Yeah, verse 10, it says, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you. It's pretty awesome what's happening. Look what it says in verse 12. Unto whom it was revealed that not unto themselves, but unto us they did minister the things which are now reported to you by them that have preached the gospel unto you with the Holy Ghost sent down from heaven, which things the angels desire to look into. The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, you guys. The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. Where is that in the book of Enoch, where it talks about the seven, it will be revealed the seven, I can't remember which chapter, the sevenfold doctrine of the whole creation. That's a pretty big deal. So the people that are learning the truth about this false spinning ball, they have a lot of information that's like, nobody believes it. Nobody listens to it. It's crazy. Oh, okay. So hold on. We gotta read the next verse. Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, and be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So, flat earth is not stupid. It is the truth, which is crazy to the people in this world. And it's mainly because of the space station, believe it or not. Most people don't believe biblical cosmology. If you say flat earth to them, they think you're crazy just automatically, because they've been raised in the last generation that's deceived. We were all deceived. And that's in Revelation 12 also. It says that dragon deceived the whole world. I'm like, yep. Hi, Lori. And I probably didn't... Davey313, hi. Didn't see you there. I just went back so I could see the chat again. So, Where was I going? To 2nd Ezra chapter 2, I think. Did I finish this? I think yeah. Let's see here. Because New Jerusalem, that's Mount Zion. And that's what John saw in Revelation 14 when he saw 144,000 on Mount Zion with the Lamb. Okay, so I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras chapter 2, and I got to find the verse here. Okay. Oh, it's verse 33. I, Ezra, received a command from the Lord on Mount Horeb for Israel, but they rejected this commandment. I say to you who hear and understand, wait for your shepherd. I will give you your eternal rest, because the end of the age and the decline of humankind are near. Be prepared for the kingdom's rewards, for everlasting light will shine on you, and eternity is prepared for you. Run away from this world's shadow that holds your glory captive. I testify that my Savior has been commissioned by the Lord. Receive the joy that comes from your glory, all of you giving thanks to him who has called you to heavenly kingdoms. Rise, stand, and see the number of those sealed at the feast, those who have transferred themselves from the shadow of this world and received bright garments from the Lord. Welcome your full number, Mount Zion. Receive the full tally of your white-robed people who serve you in obedience because they have fulfilled the Lord's law. Since you have long wished for your children to come, fill up their number, ask the Lord's sovereign power that your people may be honored as holy since they were called from the beginning. Now here's another vision. This is a vision, or a dream or whatever. But this is verse 42 in 2nd Ezra chapter 2. I, Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great crowd, which I couldn't number. They were all praising the Lord together with songs. In their midst was a tall young man, standing above all the rest. He placed crowns on each of their heads, and they were further honored. I began to wonder, and I asked an angel, who are these people? The angel answered me, these are the ones who took off the mortal garment and put on the immortal and confessed the name of God. Now they are being crowned and are receiving palms. I said to the angel, who is that young man who gives them crowns and palms? The angel answered, that is God's Son, whom they confessed in the mortal world. I began to praise and celebrate the Lord, and the angel said to me, go announce to his people how many wonders the Lord God has shown you. So that was the same thing that John saw in Revelation 14, which I'll just open my Bible and read the beginning of. Hey, Karen Ann Preston, good to see you. And Randy, Patriot Super Majority Now. Awesome. Good to see you guys. So it says here, I, Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great crowd, which I couldn't number. Well, John numbered them at 144,000, but he saw those people being sealed in their foreheads. And then when he looked, the next time he looked, there was an innumerable multitude. So that's also another thing that's happening. People are, what's the right word? Converting from believing a lie, being born in a lie, being born in a deceived time. The entire world was deceived when we were born. And so these are very strong held beliefs because we have believed this since we've been born. But if you actually seek the truth, and I don't mean like with a tape measure or a laser or whatever, that helps. But really the truth is right in the Bible. Heaven is above the earth. It's not surrounding the earth. It's above the earth. And there's waters above. There's a firmament that the sun, moon, and stars are in. It's a place of darkness. And that darkness is upon the face of the deep, which is like a sea or an abyss. And the face of the deep is frozen. I'm just kind of saying some verses. That was in Job. So if you think about it, the face of the deep is frozen. It's a place of darkness. It's a place of darkness. And like in Psalm 18, I think it says that God made darkness his secret place. And it's also a prison for wandering stars. Enoch goes into great detail about that in chapter 18 of the book of Enoch. And actually, Jude was probably repeating Enoch, but he says the wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. They're bound there until judgment, guys. They're bad. They're spirits. So, let's see here. So that's this second Ezra is just an awesome book. It's just an awesome book. He actually sees he has a, I don't think it's a vision. I don't really know what to call it. I think it's chapter 10. Like he was out in the field again, like fasting or something, and I'm just trying to find where. All of a sudden, this woman comes up to him, and she's all broken up and crying or whatever. And something crazy happens, and he hears her screech or something, and her son had died at his wedding, and he had just died, and so she was mourning, and she was going to go out to the field and just fast until she died, because that's how upset she was. And then he kind of looked away or whatever and looked at her again, and she like screeched, and when he looked again, she had become a city, a huge city with huge foundations. This woman did. I might have to read some of it to you, because it's quite the story. Vision of the woman in mourning, verse 26 in chapter 9 of 2nd Esdras. I'm just going to read it a little bit here. It's pretty entertaining. It's like, and he sees New Jerusalem. God bless you too, Daniel. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, verse 26. I went out as he had told me into the field that was called Ardat. I sat there among the flowers. I ate the plants of the field, and their food satisfied me. After 7 days I was lying on the grass, and my heart was disturbed again as before. My mouth was opened, and I began to say before the Most High, Lord, you revealed yourself to us, to our ancestors in the wilderness, and they were going out from Egypt, and when they were coming into the desert, that no one crossed, and that bore no fruit, you said, listen to me, Israel, offspring of Jacob. Pay attention to what I say. Look, I am sowing my law in you, and it will bear fruit in you, and you will be glorified in it forever. Though our parents received the law, they didn't keep it and didn't observe what was lawful. The fruit of the law didn't perish, nor could it, since it was yours. Yet those who received it perished those who received it perished, not keeping what was sown in them. Normally, when the ground receives seed, or the sea a ship, or some other container of food and drink, and when it happens that what was sown, or what was sent, or what was received is destroyed, those things themselves are destroyed, but the containers remain. But this hasn't been so in our case. I'm confused, guys. I'm just reading. We who received the law sinned and will perish, along with our hearts that received it. Yet the law doesn't perish but remains in its glory. While I was saying these things in my heart, I looked with my eyes and saw a woman to my right. She was lamenting and crying with a loud voice, and she was experiencing deep grief. Her clothes were torn, and there were ashes on her head. I dismissed my own thoughts, turned to her, and said, "Why are you weeping, and why do you grieve so deeply?" She said to me, "Leave me alone, sir, that I may weep for myself and continue in my grief, because I am very bitter inside and am depressed." I said to her, "What have you suffered? Tell me." She said to me, "I, your servant, was infertile and hadn't given birth, although I had a husband for 30 years. Hour after hour and day after day during these 30 years I pleaded with the Most High by night and day. After 30 years God heard your servant and saw how dejected I was. He attended to my distress and gave me a son. I rejoiced greatly over him, and did my husband and all my fellow citizens, and we greatly honored the Mighty One. I nourished my son with much labor, and when he grew up, I came to take a wife for him and set the day of the marriage feast." This is chapter 10 now. "But it happened that when my son went into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. We extinguished all our lamps, and all my fellow citizens rose to console me. I was quiet until the next day, until nightfall. But when all ceased consoling me so that I would be quiet, I got up at night and fled, and came into this field as you see. Now I plan not to return to the city, but to stay here, and I will neither eat nor drink, but lament and fast without ceasing until I die. I abandoned the thoughts," this is Ezra again, "I abandoned the thoughts that had preoccupied me and responded to her in anger. 'Most foolish of all women, don't you see our grief and what has befallen us? Zion, the mother of us all, is afflicted in sadness and utterly dejected. Grieve mightily now because we all grieve, and be sorrowful because we are all sorrowful. But you are mourning only for one son. Ask the earth, and she will tell you that she is the one who should mourn, since so many have sprouted upon her. From her, from the beginning, all have been born, and others will come. Look, nearly all go to ruin, and their multitude is doomed to destruction. Who then ought to mourn the more? Shouldn't she who has lost such a great multitude rather than you who grieve for one? Perhaps you say to me, my lamentation isn't like that of the earth, because I lost the fruit of my womb, which I bore with pains and brought forth with sorrows. The earth, however, is just following the way of the earth. The multitude that is present on it goes as it came. I would then say to you, as you gave birth with grief, so also the beginning of the earth yielded its fruit, humanity, to him who made it. To him who made it. Therefore, keep your grief to yourself. I think that's funny. Therefore, keep your grief to yourself and bear valiantly whatever misfortunes befall you. If you declare the decree of God to be just, you will receive your son back in due time and also be praised among women. Therefore, go into the city to your husband." She said to me, "I will not, and I will not go into the city, but I will die here." I spoke again to her, "Don't say this, but let yourself be persuaded, because Zion's fate will be consoled because of Jerusalem's grief. You see that our sanctuary is laid waste." Oh, I see that, yeah. Do you guys see that? The sanctuary is in heaven. Sanctuary is in heaven. Tabernacle's in heaven. The holy city's in heaven. This is all up in the sky, and it's literal. I'm not saying it's physical like the earth, but it's literal. I mean, you can see it if you go out and look at the stars. Actually, speaking of stars, let me show you guys something really quick. I'm sorry the video is not real entertaining. I'm just reading, but since I had thought of it, I will show you something kind of cool. Oh, this? Nope, that's not the right one. It was I just downloaded it. Isn't that cool? Star Trails. But I think I have some other ones too. I'm just looking to see if I do have this certain one. Oh yeah, right there. There's another one. That I took that one. So see the stars? That's a different realm. That's the celestial realm. It's the spiritual realm, or a spiritual realm, a heavenly realm. Not it's incorruptible, not corruptible. It's eternal, not flesh and blood. I don't understand the nature of it, but I do understand certain things about it, that it's not and that it is. You know what I mean? Probably the same things you understand. But we have to remember that is where the Spirit of God, His throne is there. And the Son sits at the right hand. What I'm saying is that's literal. That's up in the sky. Up in heaven. Okay. I think, so he keeps going on. I'm going to skip a little bit here. He keeps going on about that Zion is has been defiled or whatever, raped, snatched away, given over, enslaved. I'm just reading some of the words here. While I was speaking to her, okay, this is the part I was looking for. Verse 25. While I was speaking to her, look, suddenly her face shone brightly, and her countenance became a flashing splendor. I became afraid of her, and I wondered what was happening. Without warning, she let out a noise, a great voice full of fear, so that the earth itself shook with the sound. I watched, and she no longer appeared to me as a woman, but there was a city built, and a place with great foundations appeared. Do you guys get that? She turned into a city. Okay, I'll keep reading. I watched, and she no longer appeared to me as a woman, but there was a city built, and a place with great foundations appeared. I was afraid, and I shouted with a great voice, "Where's the angel Uriel, who came with me from the beginning, or came to me from the beginning? He's the one who brought me to the end of my wits. My end has turned into decay, and my prayer into a reproach." While I was saying these things, the angel who had come to me in the beginning came to me again and looked at me. I was laid out like a dead man, and I had lost my mind. He held my strong hand, comforted me, set me on my feet, and said to me, "What has happened to you? Why are you agitated? Why are your mind, your intellect, and your understanding all in turmoil?" I said, "Because you abandoned me. I followed your instructions and went out into the field, and look here. I saw and see what I can't describe." He said to me, "Stand up like a man, and I'll remind you." I said, "Speak, my Lord. Only don't abandon me so that I may not die for nothing. I can't make sense out of what I saw, and I don't understand what I've heard. Or is my mind deceived, and my soul dreaming? Now then, I beg you to explain this bewildering sight to your servant." He answered me, "Listen to me, let me teach you, and I will speak to you about what you fear, for the Most High has revealed many mysteries to you. He saw that you walk the straight way, because you grieve for your people without ceasing, and you mourn greatly over Zion. Here then is the meaning of the vision. This is the explanation of the woman who appeared to you a little while ago, whom you saw mourning and whom you began to console. Though now you don't see a woman, but a fully constructed city has appeared to you. And who told you about the fate of her son? This woman whom you saw is Zion, whom you now see built as a city. Remember when Jesus said he was preparing a place, guys? This is that place. Okay, as for what she said to you, that she was infertile for 30 years, it is because there were 3,000 years in the world when offerings weren't yet made in her. After 3,000 years, Solomon built the city and made offerings. That is when the infertile woman bore a son. As for what she said to you, that she nourished him with labor, this was the time that Jerusalem was inhabited. And as for what she said to you, that her son came into his wedding chamber and died, and that misfortune happened to her, this is the destruction that happened to Jerusalem. Indeed, you saw her likeness, how she mourns her son, and you began to console her over these things that had happened. These things were to be shown to you. Now the Most High, seeing that you are sincerely saddened and that you suffer for her with all your heart, has shown you the splendor of her glory and the beauty with which she is adorned. For this reason I told you to remain in the field where there is no house built. I knew that the Most High was about to show you these things. Therefore I told you to come into the field where there is no building's foundation. For no work of human construction could survive in a place where the city of the Most High was about to be made manifest. Did you guys hear this? Now remember that Ezra is being shown something and told to write it down, you guys. Because we are reading it today. That's why. That is exactly why Ezra was shown this and writing it down. And because God can go thousands of years with his word and it remains and it continues. And it's valid or whatever for the day that is being experienced, like right now, this moment. Okay, so it says, I'm going to read that verse again. For no work of human construction could survive in the place where the city of the Most High was about to be made manifest. I'm thinking like, okay, there's a gospel of the kingdom that Jesus talked about being preached as a witness to all the nations, and then the end would come. The gospel of the kingdom. I'm just saying, a city's about to be made manifest, and it's already being talked about all over in the world. There's millions of people that believe this city, believe in it. They believe it is where they live. Do you guys get what I'm saying? This is something happening, and it's pretty cool. Okay, I'll keep reading here. Let's see. Therefore, don't fear and don't let your heart be afraid. Go inside and see the splendor and the greatness of the building, insofar as you are capable of seeing with your eyesight. After this, you will hear as much as the hearing of your ears can hear. You are privileged. Okay. Then he tells him that he's going to give him more visions the next night or whatever. Okay. Okay, New Jerusalem. Sorry, that's probably like a trance. I have a video, and I'm not sure if it's even oh, wait. I don't have a video. My computer update thing seemed to have worked, so that's cool. I have a video called Trodden Underfoot, I think. And I can't remember exactly what's in the video, but it's definitely going to be talking about... Okay, because Enoch saw this too. He said that these angels, the fallen angels, the spirits of the kings of the Medes, that's what Daniel was told they were. The Media and Persia and Grecia. They were princes of they were fallen angels, or the spirits of fallen angels or whatever. And the things that they were doing was Enoch, what chapter is that? 56. They're going up and treading underfoot the land of God's elect ones. Treading it underfoot. You guys know what that means. And it said that it would become to them a highway and a threshing floor or something like that. I'm looking for it here. I have so many videos. I could do a 24-hour channel. But I haven't. Let's see here. I don't know where it is. Oh, yeah. The sky, you guys. They're not in alphabetical order for some reason. The update changed everything on my computer. Everything. Whoops. It just changes, Oh, there it is. Trodden underfoot. Oh, it's wrong. It's the wrong format. Sorry about that. What a waste of time, huh, Joe? Okay. There is something important, though. We have to realize that God's up in heaven. And what I mean by that is he lives in the sky. Let's check out Enoch 71. This is one of my favorite cosmology chapters.
And the Spirit carried Enoch off to the highest heaven, and I saw there, in the middle of that light, something built of crystal stones, and in the middle of those stones tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw a circle of fire, which surrounded that house. From its four sides came rivers, full of living fire, and they surrounded that house. And round about were the seraphim, and the cherubim, and the Ophanim. These are they who do not sleep, but keep watch over the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 surrounding that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the holy angels who are in the heavens above went in and out of that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number came out from that house. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure like wool, and his garments indescribable.
Okay, so if you caught that, basically Enoch was taken up he went up to the highest heaven, and he saw a house made of crystals or whatever, and there's a throne there, and the angels went in and out of that house, and an innumerable amount of angels encircled that house. So when we're doing things like this, or when we're seeing things like this, what are we seeing? We're seeing the kingdom of heaven. Now, I'm not going to leave that repeating forever because that could be annoying. So I have, let me see if I grab, yeah. So what else is up there? There's the kingdom of heaven, and what else is up there? Let me show you what I mean here.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black, almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
It's wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
So yeah, here's my understanding of what's happening, guys. Jesus is flying with the clouds of heaven, and all the evil spirits in hell have gone from those waters beneath to those waters above to meet him at his coming. He stirred it. What does it say? It's in Isaiah. I'll just go there. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 9. It says something it can only mean one thing. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Hell from beneath is moved for thee. If something was moved from beneath, where would it be moved to? What's the other? If it's not beneath, it's what? Just saying. You know, if you're beneath the bleachers, what's above the bleachers? I'm just making examples. If you're on the bottom bunk and you were going to be moved from the bottom bunk to, where would you be moved to? I'm just saying, if hell from beneath is moved for thee. Other versions say the spirits in Sheol get excited to meet him at his coming. So, I'm chasing truth. I have another video that I want to play. And I think it's in a folder that I called Bible. And I think I called it Heaven, I think. I just want you guys to, okay, because we know there's I don't know how to say it usually, but there's two aspects of the temple of God. Because the Holy Spirit proceeds from the throne, from the Father in heaven, and it dwells in men. He dwells in men. And so we know that we are the temple of God. But this is the other aspect that's important. Check it out. Psalm 18 verse 9. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Isaiah 50 verse 3. I clothe the heavens with blackness, and I make sackcloth their covering. Proverbs 30 verse 4. Who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fists? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Deuteronomy 4 verse 11. And ye came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. Revelation 21 verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. John 1 verse 32. And John bare record, saying, I saw the Spirit descending from heaven like a dove, and it abode upon him. Deuteronomy 4 verse 39. Know therefore this day, and consider it in thine heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath there is none else. Job 22 verse 12. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold the height of the stars, how high they are. John 3 verse 13. And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. Psalm 102 verse 19. For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did the Lord behold the earth. Psalm 115 verse 3. But our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Matthew 26 verse 64. Jesus saith unto him, Thou hast said, Nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Job 37 verse 18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? Isaiah 66 verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, The heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? Where is the place of my rest? Psalm 11 verse 4. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. Psalm 14 verse 2. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God.
Howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you.
Unto whom it was revealed that not unto themselves, but unto us they did minister the things which are now reported unto you by them that have preached the gospel unto you with the Holy Ghost sent down from heaven, which things the angels desire to look into. Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel, and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, made known to all the nations for the obedience of faith. To God only wise be glory through Jesus Christ forever. Amen. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. I hope it's not too late. Hello? Hello?
Go ye into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover.
So then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven, and sat on the right hand of God. And they went forth, and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them, and confirming the word with signs following. Amen.
And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents, and brethren, and kinsfolks, and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck, in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power, And I saw him come close unto the ram. And he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Yo, Michael Kahn. I know the feeling, what you're going through, but remember this. It's not, I understand what you mean by lonely. But there's also a reason for that's it's hard to put into words. It's a calling. It's like the top calling authority that has called you to do something that may be lonely, but it's one of the most important. Let me just tell you why it's important. I'll tell you why I believe that it's important. I'll tell you by reading Revelation, a couple verses in Revelation 7, because I've told people this before. This is what makes that angle, that aspect of truth, the part being rejected or being ostracized or lonely or all these kinds of things, that disappears when you understand the reason why you see the truth that you see, and it puts you in an awkward place in this world. I just have to comment on this because it's what keeps me sane, and it also keeps me knowing that it's not it's lonely for a reason. It's supposed to be. Here. So John sees an angel telling these other angels to hold the winds until they've sealed the servants of God in their foreheads. And he saw 12 tribes of 12,000 being sealed. So 144,000 were being sealed in their foreheads. Hey, Peanut, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. So he sees this, but then look what happens. Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. So there's a multitude there. Okay, 144,000 is a very small number if we were to compare it with the population of this earth. But whatever that number is, John had no problem counting that, the 144,000. But then he just said, then he looked and he saw just too many people to count. And that's in the context there. That was when people were being sealed in their foreheads. That's now, you guys. That's what I believe. And it is, you can look at people's testimonies that have gone from being an atheist, someone that disregarded the idea of God, a creator, to being seeking after this creator that made them, and seeking seeking his kingdom, the one that's not of this world. Like, if you're of this world, you believe that everything's physical, or everything's physical and material the way that the earth is. You know, gravity, all that. Because gravity is what holds the planet together, right? What a joke. Don't believe that garbage, you guys. God didn't make a planet. He made stars, and 7 of them disobeyed him. And so he bound them in a prison of darkness, and it happens to be above the earth. And that's why NASA is deceiving the whole world. But it's not NASA that's deceiving the whole world, it's Satan. It's those planets. That's what Satan wants, to ascend into heaven. That's what NASA does. Yeah, they say that too. Yeah, we're so insignificant. Like that, it's just the opposite of what God says. God says we're not. God wants us to come to repentance and to follow him. And that when that happens, that everybody rejoices in heaven. Just when someone realizes that the world that we're in now is not it's not the focus. It's the one that's coming. And it's the one that I've been talking about in this live stream. Let's see here. So that's why, Michael. Because, I got another one to read. Because here's why. It's in Isaiah 42. He called you in righteousness. What kind of calling could be better than one from God? What kind of calling could be higher than a calling from God to do something that he calls righteousness? Here's what, and he's talking to his servants, who he upholds, his elect. I put my spirit upon him, he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Okay, verse 6 says, I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness. And here's why it's not lonely, Michael. Or why that is, why you can overcome that, that emptiness, or whatever. I don't know, my vocabulary is not good, so I apologize, but I think you know what I mean. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. This is him speaking, like in this case, I'll use you for an example, Michael. He's speaking this to you directly. It says to open the blind eyes. So he's giving you as a covenant to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and praise from the end of the earth, ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voices. This is a good... I'm going to skip down to verse 16. Check this out. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. Wow, you guys. I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. Anybody have that happen? I was blind, but now I see. I'm just saying, I'm witness to that for sure. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images, that say to the molten images, Ye are our gods. Hear ye deaf, and look ye blind, that ye may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent, who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? Seeing many things, but thou observest not, opening the ears, but he heareth not. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, Restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Do you guys hear that? Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? To come, you guys. It's not this world. That's why Jesus, one of the last things he said before he was crucified, my kingdom is not of this world. Think about it, man. Yeah. Okay. This is verse 24. This is still Isaiah 42. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it has set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to the heart. Okay, there's another thing that I just wanted to read. Man, the book of Isaiah is just deep, you guys. Okay, in Jeremiah 51, this is like pretty cool, but it's pretty heavy. I can't remember which verse I think it's like 13 or something like that. 51, Jeremiah 51, yeah, 13. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy... This is talking about Babylon, by the way, guys. Abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there's a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of their errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. Wow. There's also in Zechariah, there's some good stuff here. Kind of about the same destruction, or whatever you want to call it, because that definitely Babylon. You don't want to be. And if you read the description in this video, there's I numbered them 8. I think it was 18. I think I called them biblical facts about cosmology or something like that. Read through those and then read the last one. There's a prison, a habitation of devils, and it's in darkness. And that happens to be above the earth. So I don't know if people realize that Babylon the Great, or the place where John went, that wilderness where he went in the spirit, that's where he saw Babylon the Great. The mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots, he saw her in the spirit. He wasn't even in his body, you guys. An angel took me away in the spirit to the wilderness. So just think about that. Babylon the Great is not on the earth even. It's above the earth. It's that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. And it's dangerous to be involved in what is happening up there. I mean, it's what's, the sky is going to fall, you guys. Darkness is going to consume this earth. The sun won't give its light. The moon won't give her light. Yeah, so in Zechariah, there's something awesome. I guess it would be a prophecy. Yeah. Zechariah 12. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll just start in verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Now, I have to explain what I just read when I hear it. Because other people don't really see what I'm seeing usually, and like they see it different. But what is that actually? What's that? What is happening when it says it'll come to pass in that day? So it's a prophecy saying in the future something's going to happen. And this is God. He says, "I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem." Well, what if Jerusalem is New Jerusalem? And what if New Jerusalem is flat Earth? Who's coming against flat Earth? Like when NASA makes a shirt that says, "It's a sphere we checked," or whatever. It's a globe we checked, or I think they even say it's round, which is probably stupid, but whatever. Okay. And this is verse 10, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace, of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadadrimmon. I can't ever say these. In the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shemai apart, and their wives apart, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. In that day, this is chapter 13 now. In that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. When was the last time you guys went to a baseball game? Like a Twins game or whatever? Oh, never mind. That's how I read these things. Like I just watched that. Oh, that came true. That's fulfilled. I can even give you an example, possibly. Actually, yeah, this is actually a great example. Let me play this video. This is another fulfillment, the way I see it. This is like off topic, but I'll show you the idols, because it said, I, the Lord of hosts, where was that? That I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall be no more remembered. Okay, I'm going to show you that after we watch this video.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. In this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking
version
great
1 space path up
things.
there. And we're now about to fly sort of version 2 and version 3. And with each one, we're able to make the reusability of the heat shield better. So
it ablates less as it enters, and so we're able to get more flights. So that's Dragon version 2.
I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things. In this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
So I'm sitting here in the pilot seat. Let me pull it down.
Whoops, it's replaying a little bit because I
considered the
accidentally
horns,
shut
and
my
behold,
shut the
there came up
program
among
down
them another
accidentally.
little horn.
There we go.
In this
Sorry about that. Do you guys hear what Daniel was describing that he saw? He said, in this horn were eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. You know, Elon Musk says that he's going to make a whole human civilization on Mars and make humanity a multi-planetary species. But that's no big deal. Never mind. I mean, that wouldn't be any great things, would it? Oh, he also says that he's going to heal the blind. Oh, should we watch a video about that? He can heal the blind and make the deaf hear and make paraplegics walk. Did you guys know this? That Elon Musk claims to be able to do this? Because this is what the he's trying to mimic Jesus, but he doesn't even realize it, I think. Let me see, what was that video called? It was called Elon Musk. Oh, there, maybe it was. Where was that? He speaks about Neuralink or something. I'm looking for it, guys. Sorry. Bear with me. Thank you guys for showing up and hanging out. I just want people to understand what's happening in the time we live in. Dream of Apollo. That's what Elon Musk says that too. He says that oh, here we go, we're getting there. He says that he started SpaceX to continue the dream of Apollo. Okay, let's check this video out here. He makes some bold claims here. Is this the right one? I think this is the right one. I think it is.
It basically implanted in your skull. So, but it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You'd put the electrode. You'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and and then you know, stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it. So then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight, like returns your eyesight, even if you've like lost your optic nerve type of thing.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing, obviously. I mean, pretty much anything that it could, in principle, fix almost anything that is wrong with the brain, and it could restore limb functionality. So if you've got interface into the motor cortex, and then an implant that's that's like a microcontroller in your muscle groups, you could then create a sort of a neural shunt that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality, like they can walk around, be normal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
maybe slightly better.
Slightly better
over time. Yes.
You mean with future iterations?
Yeah. Like the $6 million man. Although these days that doesn't
That's
seem like
cheap.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
$6 billion man.
Yeah.
So the hole would be small. How big would the hole be that you have to drill and then replace with this piece? It's only one hole?
Well, yeah, the device we're working on right now is about an inch in diameter. And your skull's pretty thick, by the way. So skulls are...
Mine is, for sure.
It might actually literally be. I mean, if you're a big guy, your skull is actually fairly thick. Skull's it's like 7 to 14 millimeters. So
mine's probably a couple of inches.
A half inch, half inch thick skull-ish. Yeah. So that's a fair bit of we got quite a coconut going on there. It's not like some eggshell.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
So you basically implant the device.
And so it would be like a 1 inch square, or 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah,
so an inch circle, like a circular.
Yeah, I think like a smartwatch or something like that, or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take this 1 inch diameter, like ice fishing, right? You ever go ice fishing?
No, but I'd like to.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
So you basically take an auger and you drill through the surface of the ice.
Yeah.
And you create a small hole, and you can dunk your line in there. So this is like that. You're ice fishing on the top of your skull, and then you cork it.
Yeah, and you replace that, say, 1 inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device. And that has a battery and a Bluetooth and a inductive charger, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with our robot that we developed. It's very carefully putting in the electrodes and avoiding any veins or arteries, so it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1 inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted, and they will find their way...
Like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires.
Tiny wires.
And they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate?
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you insert.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in depending on where it is, 2 or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots?
Yeah.
Wow.
Returns your eyesight, even if you've lost your optic nerve type of thing. Will fix almost anything that is wrong with the brain, and it could restore limb functionality. So that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality, like they can walk around, be normal. It's about an inch in diameter. Yeah, and you replace that, say, 1 inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with our robot that we developed.
So yeah, he's working on that in the background too, Here I got a video, the last video that I'm gonna play, and then I'm gonna call it a day or a night, whatever. You guys will like this video because it's kind of funny, but I'll tell you what. Remember I was reading earlier in 2nd Ezra, and it said, the people that dwell on the earth would lose their minds. This is an example of that. Are you ready? Here we go. Thank you guys for hanging out. And seek the truth. Ask Jesus to show you. Open your heart to things you didn't know. Truths that are available that we just didn't have before. And it's because of him. And he's the only way that you can see these things. Here we go. So we're finishing on a mask note. Here we go.
We're tagging an asteroid.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Michelle Fowler from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, COVID-19. And thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm struggling with my mask here a little bit. COVID-19. As you can see, I'm struggling with my mask here a little bit. If everything has gone right tonight, a little bit of Bennu will be coming back to Earth in 2023. So let's get one last visit with our social media desk. James, what's going on? This is one of these evenings where it's such a privilege and a pleasure to be working for NASA and for the idea of scientific exploration. So I'm Dr. Michelle Fowler. As you can see, I'm struggling with my mask here a little bit. We still have to deal with the challenges of COVID-19. So please bear with us today as we are working with our masks and trying to do this the best way we can. As you can see, I'm struggling with my mask here a little bit. COVID-19. And for NASA, COVID-19. Bennu, COVID-19. COVID-19. And for NASA, COVID-19. Bennu, COVID-19. Bennu, COVID-19. COVID-19. Bennu, COVID-19. Good night.